Hey, what's up everyone on YouTube and Twitter? So since the last video that we made, Bitcoin ended up closing the weekly above this major resistance level here. This level was used as support multiple times over the past 6 months. We touched it almost 9 times on the weekly time frame, right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, and right here. So this was major support slash resistance, and Bitcoin closed the weekly above it, which means that the bulls are back in control here. The bulls are back in control of this market. It is likelier now, in my opinion, that we are going to test up to this upper range at some point in the future. As long as this area ends up holding, we will test up to this upper range, and it favors that we will now. If we zoom in on the Bitcoin chart on the daily time frame, Bitcoin has been consolidating for over the past week now. And as you guys know, if you've been following me for a while, after a move up and you start to see consolidation, it favors a continuation. So currently, this is setting up in a favorable position for the Bitcoin bulls to push this price higher at some point. It does appear that it is forming some sort of pennant, bull flag, or ascending triangle here. Regardless, it's in a consolidation at some point. It favors a continuation to the upside. And if we turn on the 10 SMA, the 10 SMA is moving up here. And at this point, it looks like Bitcoin will have to decide between breaking out probably within the next 24 to 48 hours or breaking below the 10 SMA. Maybe it wants to consolidate a little bit further. We do have the FOMC meeting next week, so there is a chance that maybe Bitcoin wants to consolidate into that. And of course, today we saw that the GDP came in negative for the first time since 2022. But interestingly enough, the market sold off earlier today, but then ended up recovering. The stock market closed in the green. Bitcoin mostly recovered the downside and ended up moving up. So despite having the first negative GDP read in almost 3 years now, we are seeing the market react almost positively to this. And this is likely because the market is probably starting to sniff out that the Fed is going to change its monetary stance, which should help crypto, should help Bitcoin, and lead to more upside in the future at some point. Since the bottom back here for Bitcoin, there's been a lot of negative news stories that have come out, especially the GDP stuff today. But despite that, Bitcoin is up. Bitcoin is up in the month of April. It ended up closing the month of April in the green, massive green candle, highest close since back here in January, the start of the year. This was the highest monthly close since January. So despite all the negativity over the past few weeks, Bitcoin is up. The stock market is up as well. So it does look like, to me at least, that the bear market narrative that many people believed was starting, it doesn't look like it's happening whatsoever. The markets don't reflect that. The charts don't reflect that currently. Bitcoin's breaking above major support. If we go over to the S&P 500, the S&P 500 as well is reclaiming major support here. It ended up today going back below this breakout level that it had broken above, end up just being a wick. So I end up reclaiming this on the daily time frame. So in my opinion, this is shaping up very much similar to actually 2020. We had the huge sell-off in 2020. We started to see the recovery, and it's playing out very similarly. And around the same time, that's when the Fed changed its monetary policy back then. We're probably going to see it by the end of this quarter once again. And we're seeing a recovery that's even faster than 2020 for both the Bitcoin and the S&P 500. They are both recovering at a faster rate at this point. And one of the bigger clues here is that there's a bunch of altcoins right now that are currently breaking higher against BTC. We're seeing altcoins break higher. So if we were in this bear market like so many believe, we absolutely would not be seeing all these coins break higher against Bitcoin. I published a video on my Patreon. If you're interested, I posted a video about 2 days ago going over all these coins that are breaking higher against BTC. If you look here, this one as well, setting up. This one broke higher, and this one is actually continuing higher tonight. This one, I believe, at this point is about to break higher as well. So despite Bitcoin dominance not currently dropping, there are alts breaking higher against Bitcoin, which is definitely an interesting sign and really just goes against the whole bear market narrative that so many have pushed over the past few weeks. So if you are interested, I do have the Patreon link right here. This also gives you access to the private Discord where we're talking about crypto, charts, etc., etc. And I post videos frequently on Patreon. I also have a Coinbase referral link. This is by far the best exchange in the United States. I also have a Gemini referral link, which is another US-based exchange. And currently, if you trade $100 or buy $100 worth of crypto spot, you can earn $75 back in the crypto of your choice. You will earn $75. So the referral link is right here in the YouTube description, as well as my X bio as well. So we will continue to watch what Bitcoin decides to do here. The 10 SMA is moving up. The S&P 500 did bounce today. The FOMC meeting is next week. And of course, we had the data come in with the negative GDP and the inflation going down. So a lot of interesting things going on. So we will continue to watch to see what Bitcoin decides to do here, whether it wants to break upward and continue higher, or retest this double bottom neckline breakout, which at some point it might end up doing. But currently it is in a consolidation after a large move up, which favors a continuation. So if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're watching on X, make sure to follow me on YouTube. I will see you guys in the next video.